I'm Joe.
I'm Taylor.
A lot of this is becoming ranting lately, but this is a specialized edition of ranting. We're going to talk about nerds and why I'm really pissed off at nerds lately. And Taylor actually had some input on this too.
Yes.
And I've been watching. Okay, I get it. The show's old, and it actually has been off the air for what, 3 or 4 years now.
Yes.
And funny, I looked it up. Remember when the guy, the host of what is it called? I keep saying Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds,
The
the
movie is Revenge of the Nerds,
Yes.
and stars Bobby Carradine and
Robert Carradine and I forgot the other guy, the booger. I forgot his name.
he's Snot in American Dad, and he's also starred on several shows, right? But it's funny, I didn't know that coincided with the incident where he tried to kill himself, or allegedly tried to kill himself when he got in a car accident and tried to kill him and his wife.
Oh.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that. I'm like, what? Why is the Revenge of the Nerds guy going all crazy? Now it makes sense. Show was canceled. So bring it back. Bring it back. Bring back the show. I'm a fan. It's a good show, good format. It probably didn't go as well because people that, I don't know, are nerds, are cord cutters, are on Netflix, are on Hulu, and they're not watching TBS, which the show was on, that was supposed to coincide with the Big Bang Theory reruns on TBS, and it was supposed to complement it after that. But at the time, the Big Bang Theory was getting produced on Hulu, and you can order it on Hulu and watch the show. You can watch it on Netflix too right now.
Actually, you can't watch it on Hulu because it's CBS. CBS is not. CBS
They're
is
still their own thing or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, get with the times. Okay, point being, nerds are nerds for a reason. They're on their computers and are on the internet all the time. Therefore, they probably weren't going to be watching that show at pay TV cable. Right, Taylor?
Yeah. No.
So more on that, other shows, whatever. Time to rant. Here's your problem, nerds. I've been watching a lot of the show, King of the Nerds, and you nerds, this is directly addressing you. I'm not a nerd. I'm way too cool to be a nerd. But I'm into nerdy things. I have been into nerdy things. At one point in my life, okay, when I was younger and I was into comic books and I wasn't playing sports and I was into video games, staying at home all the time, and I was getting really pale. I guess you could call me a nerd.
Yeah, that's me right now, Joe.
But that's Taylor right this minute. And by him saying he's pale, he has a nice mocha skin color constantly is what he's saying.
Yes.
Pale. But that's the thing, is that I was a nerd at one point in my life, but I didn't really say that I was a nerd. I just didn't care. I was just into things I was into. I didn't think it was particularly nerdy, whatever. But nerds, first of all, they have an ego problem. How many nerds do you see that are really proud of themselves? Like in season 1, there was one nerd that kept saying how great they were at the challenges and kept losing all the challenges. But this development that nerds have, that they say that, well, because I'm nerdy, I don't have all these other things everyone else has. But you have something that the people that you hate have. You have a massive ego about how good you are at certain tasks, right? Isn't that the same thing as a nerd or a jock being proud because he's strong, or maybe a good-looking girl being proud because she's beautiful? Isn't you thinking that you're better than everybody because you're good at science? Isn't that doing the same exact thing that you're complaining about the cool kid doing? They're talking about the thing that they're proud of most. You're talking about the thing you're proud of most in an obnoxious, annoying way. No?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So you're doing the same exact things. The other thing that I have a problem with nerds, whenever you get a worse nerd, you all team up against the worst nerd. So, for example, the guy, what was it, in season 2, he was kind of what was his name? I forget his name all the time. Mm-hmm. He was kind of threatening everybody and saying he was going to destroy everybody, and whatever. Who cares? Yeah. But in the current season I'm watching, don't spoil it for me out there. The current season I'm watching, the nerd is Ori, right? And they're all against Ori because he's kind of weird or kind of standoffish, or he makes weird jokes, or he's made a weird woman joke to the girl at the beginning of the season where he's like, maybe it's because you're a woman. He didn't mean it. He's obviously doesn't know what he's saying. He's socially awkward. But it's amazing how fast you team up on the socially awkward guy, when if me and Taylor walked in the room, you would all be the socially awkward people. So nerds are really inclusive and really about being together, until there's somebody who's more nerdy than them. Then immediately they start ganging up and becoming a team on the other person. So stop pretending you're not like everyone else. You're just like everyone else. And whenever people start enjoying your type of, I'm guilty of it too. I've been very critical on this program of Chris Hardwick because I say he's not a nerd. He's not. He's obviously not a nerd. Okay. But hey, at least he's taken an interest in your stupid stuff. Okay. He's brought a platform to you. He's brought advertising. He's brought a lot of shows otherwise that wouldn't have been out there. And he's interviewed and brought to certain panels that like Walking Dead, Talking Dead. What is it? Talking. His other shows.
Yeah, it's talking.
All great shows that nerds are into or would be into, all with the representation of Chris Hardwick that wouldn't exist without him. So I still don't like him. And if he ever is a fan of our show, I will tell him precisely why I don't like him. And we can go on about that for days. Now, Taylor loves him. So 50% of the show is on your side. Mr. Hardwick, 50% is not on your side. So, but I credit where credit's due. He gives a platform where there was no platform. I will say that he's brought attention where there was no attention, and his panels and the celebrities he gets to interview for his products and for all nerds out there. Ultimately, he's done the service, a good service to nerds everywhere. Now, here's the other problem. Taylor brought this up earlier. Taylor, you're just talking about.
I don't know. I got caught up in what you're
saying. Oh, sorry.
You
got caught up in the story. Nerds getting mad at Halle Berry for drinking at Comic-Con. Comic-Con is for you, nerds out there, and it is put on for you. And celebrities who aren't nerds come from around the world to entertain you. It is an event for you, by you, for everything that you need in your life. And what do they do, Taylor, when someone who is not part of the nerd culture comes in there and does something on stage? What do they do?
They make a big thing about it. They make a big deal about it.
Halle Berry was drinking on stage. And what were their complaints this time?
Oh, there was mixed complaints of like, oh, yeah, that's cool, but then it was like, oh, that doesn't show good for the Comic-Con, it doesn't show good for the kids, and there's rants and people like that, and a lot of really hardy, nerdy people saying that. Nerds. Okay, listen. People are still allowed to drink. People are still allowed to have things that you don't fundamentally believe in, okay? People are still allowed to smoke. People are allowed to do all kinds of things you don't care. Put this in perspective, okay? There are Christian nerds out there, right? Yes. That wouldn't appreciate the racy outfits, or even people of the Muslim faith wouldn't appreciate the racy superhero outfits that maybe Wonder Woman is wearing, right? Or maybe all the other women in comics. Lord knows, I mean, I was a Psylocke fan growing up. What the hell is she wearing? How could she even fight in that, really? I mean, it's just all thighs and the rest of it. Like, come on, really? It's unrealistic. The outfits that they're wearing are very... They're just there to appeal flatly to young boys, obviously. Yeah, young teenage males that are... Before they get into pornography, they're into racy comic books. Yes. Now, in other words, people won't appreciate that. But we don't hear you complaining about that. You know why? Because in your culture that you've invented, it's acceptable, okay? So shut up. In the other culture, it's acceptable for people to be drinking as well. Are you triggered by the drinking? What if we're triggered by everything? What if we're triggered by the sexy outfits the X-Men and X-Women are wearing? What if we're triggered by shirtless Superman standing over his victory, right? Whatever. You don't complain about that. You know why? Because you don't care what somebody who disagrees you have to say. There are people that don't like that, are triggered by that. We were looking at, what was it? Was it you who was telling me, or Taylor? What? There was like an ad for like a Muslim swimwear company, and they were all in the pool, but they were all in outfits. Like, oh, really? No.
Like over themselves.
No.
Now, that's funny to us, but disrespectful to them and their culture. So you are allowed to have differences. You're allowed to have that. It's fine. They can have that in their magazine without us ripping on them or ripping them a new one for it. You're allowed to have the sexy outfits without us ripping into it. You're allowed to drink without us ripping into it. Halle Berry is what, in her mid-40s?
Yeah.
It was okay to drink. It was okay. It's fine. Just because you're triggered now doesn't mean it's not okay. Here's another example of where you have these flaws, nerds. Just recently, and this really pisses me off. I just told Taylor about this before the show started. I should have waited for his reaction live on the show. I can't contain the rage going on. Kevin Smith is apologizing for revealing a story about when he was filming, I believe, Mallrats with Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck, yeah, get it. He's a douche, whatever. I'm going to come to the defense of Ben Affleck on this one. Now, I shouldn't, but I am. I really shouldn't. But Ben Affleck, he made a comment. He said that the toughest thing to do in acting was to do a male-on-male kiss. He said this in 1996, and he said it as part of an actor filming a movie. Kevin Smith revealed that as an anecdote for an interview or for whatever he was doing, whatever conversation he was doing, right? The point is we need to stop this ridiculous, stupid behavior like that. And then you're all guilty of this too. Anyone who is sitting there criticizing for this, okay? This is nerds eating nerds here, okay? This is nerds that are mad that Kevin Smith told a story that of something Ben Affleck said 20 years ago when it was okay to say something like that. And then we're not talking about he was saying, I hate the F word. I hate, the derogatory name. We're not even going to say it on the show towards homosexual males. He didn't even do that. He just said it was tough to have a male-on-male kiss. Okay? We're choosing not to say those words here. He didn't even say those words. He did it. He didn't even say it. He did not even say it. He just said for him it was the toughest thing to do in acting. And then he was responded to on Twitter by another actress who said, try filming a rape scene. Okay. You idiot. Okay? I understand that a rape scene is tough for a woman. Edward Norton filmed a rape scene in the shower in American History X. Is that not tough for him too? Is that not tough? All of it's tough. It is a matter of perspective. It was tough for Ben Affleck to do that at the time. At the time, he's grown more comfortable with that. He was, for God's sakes, he was calling Bill Maher a racist on his show. Okay? The point is you are eating each other alive now with these microaggressions, these micro tiny little things that you're complaining about. And Kevin Smith, the king of all nerds, had to issue an apology on his Facebook because you cannot contain that 20 years ago he might have had a story about someone who had a tough time doing a male-on-male kiss. You're all a bunch of idiots. Seriously. Taylor? Do you condone this type of nerd behavior?
No, I don't.
From our fellow nerd at the show?
No,
over
I don't.
Here?
I do not condone this, and I don't agree with that. Even though I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, I do disagree with that.
I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith, too. I've went to his shop. I've met the characters from the show over there. And by the way, shout out. Happy to be invited back anytime. Taylor as well.
Yes.
If you ever like us have over there. We're big fans. But don't apologize, Kevin Smith. You don't have to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. Stop this. Next Let Me Rant coming up, apology tours. That's it. I'm done. And on a rough note. An abrupt cutaway.